Good morning to all, and it is a privilege to call this meeting to order of Huron County Council. And I would like to welcome everyone here today, all members of our council that are here this morning, to all members of our senior management team that will provide us facts and information so we can make decisions in the best interest of the corporation of the County of Huron and our 61,000 residents. Welcome also to any members of the public that are joining us and the media that are joining us this morning. At the outset, I would like to indicate that council meetings are available live through Zoom, and recordings may be posted online on Huron County's YouTube channel. You may be seen and or heard as part of these broadcasts, and your name, comments, and or presentation materials will become part of the public record. I would like to make a couple of comments, if I could, at the outset with the latitude of council, and that is to recognize that this is Paramedics Week. It is very, very important to us. This is being recognized from the 19th to the 25th of May. And it is a time and an opportunity for us to show our appreciation for the hard work and contributions of our Huron County paramedics. Paramedic Services Week provides us the opportunity to express our deepest appreciation for the incredible dedication, professionalism, unselfishness that all members of our paramedic service team exemplify. Our paramedics play a unique and essential role in delivering high quality and innovative care in those needs. And this year's theme, how fitting, help us help you. And it emphasizes the cooperative relationship between the paramedics and the communities that they serve. Thank you so much to our paramedic services staff, and let's show our appreciation. Also this week, it is very important to recognize our public works staff. Since 1960, municipalities across Canada have been recognizing National Public Works Week. This year's theme is advancing quality of life for all, and how fitting that is. And it has never been more true of the efforts made by our Huron County Public Works team. Our team is committed to keeping Huron County safe, clean, and beautiful by making improvements to our roads, bridges, and culvert systems. When you see a pothole being repaired, a bridge crew member on a job site, or lines being painted, let's all show our respect to the Public Works crew and have a wave for them. They contribute to our quality of life every day here in county, and we thank them for everything they do. Let's again show our appreciation to our Public Works staff. With that, we have the agenda that has been circulated in advance, and one amendment to this is that Aaron Schooley will be included in our closed session. So with that, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda as amended, and that is Councillor Bazinet and Anderson. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Do any members of County Council have a pecuniary interest or general nature thereof to indicate at this time of any agenda item that we have today? And I will go first to Councillor Noel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Whereas I, Leah Noel, have a pecuniary interest with respect to item 11.4, the recommendation to award RFP HC 24-509 detailed design for the replacement of 3 culverts in the County of Huron, I therefore declare a pecuniary interest, and the general nature of my interest is that my daughter is employed by BM Ross. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, and that is duly noted, Clerk Cronin. Is there anyone else that has a pecuniary interest? And seeing none, we do have the minutes of the 8th of May for approval, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder for these, please. Councillors Van Stone and Alvin McClellan. Are there any questions on these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion of approval, and that is carried. Thank you. We do not have any delegations, petitions, or presentations as such. However, we will move to councillors' issues or councillor comments under number 6, and I will go first to Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through the warden, in the vein of the fact it's Paramedics Week, I've had a question from the public recently about our ambulance spaces and whether they are equipped with generators. I'm just wondering perhaps we get a report back on the status of that, because we know emergencies can happen anytime, and being prepared is always in the best interest of public safety. So if that'd be possible.
Okay, thank you for that. If that would be your wish, would you make a motion to do that? And do we have a seconder for that? And we passed Warden again. Any further discussion? All in favor of the staff report? And that is carried. Staff's good with that? Thank you. Any additional councillor comments? Past Warden again, please, and then Councillor Heffer.
Yes, my comments are regards to Alice Monroe and the loss of the Huron County icon. Unfortunately, I was away at a conference. I left at I don't know, like 5:30 on the 14th, and when I got home, I had several phone messages from reporters. So if any statements were noticeably absent of comments from Central Huron, that's the reason why. Obviously, she, a resident of Clinton for many years. I think we all know her history. I won't go into it in detail other than to say we do have a little project to honor her in Central Huron that'll be going forward. But, I think she was a resident, and I think all of Huron County can embrace the work that she did and the fact that we have a Nobel Prize winner amongst us. Certainly a feather in the cap of Huron County, and just a sign of the talent that lives amongst us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Past Warden again. And I did provide some comments to the media expressing our condolences on behalf of all of Huron County Council in Alice's passing. Councillor Heffer, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. At this time, I just want to thank Vicky and the Economic Development Department for the great program that they put on for us in Blythe. Is very much appreciated. I heard nothing but positive for it, Vicky, and it is very much appreciated. And just the different panels that you had, the brick by brick, the builders that were there. I know as a counselor, we learned stuff from that, and so that was very encouraging and just a great summit. And just thank you for putting it on, and it was very, very well accepted by everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Heffer. And indeed, I made opening comments at that the first day, and you did the second day, and tremendous effort to our staff. And thank you very much for that. Councillor Finch, please.
Actually, and through the warden, I just want to thank the warden. He was down to the South Huron Mayor's breakfast a couple of weeks ago and provided some information and spoke to the folks down in South Huron. So it's very important to see the warden in South Huron and across the county. So I think it was very well received. And I thank you again for taking the time.
It was a privilege. Thank you very much for that. Any additional comments of any other members of council? I would like to comment that last week, Past Warden Ginn and Councillor Bazinet and myself were in Montreal for the Great Lakes Conference. And it was very heartwarming to know the shared interest and concern for the future of our Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence Seaway and the amount of commerce that happens on our seaway. We're so fortunate to have a port in Huron County. I would suggest, without having an exact count, 40% of the attendees were from the United States. And it's great to see the collaboration between our two countries in preserving our Great Lakes. So it was a very worthwhile conference, and I participated on behalf of Huron County Council. Any additional comments? And if not, I thank everyone very much for that. We do have our consent agenda that encompasses 7.1 through 7.6. Is there anything that anyone would like to address in that? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder that items 7.1 through 7.6 be approved with the actions noted. P. Heffer and J. Heffer. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Under Social and Property Services, I would like to welcome Aaron Schooley, who will respond to any questions regarding the disaster response agreement with the Red Cross. We have all read the report. Do we have any questions or comments for Aaron on this report? And if not, I thank you for that, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report titled Response Agreement with the Red Cross, with the bylaw being prepared. Councillors Finch and Noel, all in favor of the motion. And that is carried. Thank you, and thank you very much for that, Aaron. We would like you, though, to present on 8.2 and that is the Housing and Homelessness Data Report Monthly Share Out. Welcome, Aaron, and I believe you have a special person, and I will leave it to you to introduce that special person, Aaron.
Great. Thank you. Through you, Mr. Warden, I would like to introduce you all to our Homelessness Programs Coordinator, Madison Spriggs. We are here today to talk a little bit about the monthly data share out that we are anticipating sharing with community partners. We'd like to post it on the website. This is a continued commitment in Huron County by staff to analyze and take a deeper look at the data, but also to make sure that our partners understand what the data is showing us, where we need to be going. It helps us understand where our bottlenecks are, both at a personal level, but also in a systemic model. And we just want to make sure that this is available freely for everyone to understand, because until we understand the scope of the issue, we can't actually address the issue. So I'm going to turn things over to Madison to talk to you about a little bit of the data before we turn it over for questions.
Welcome, Madison.
Thank you so much, and through you, Mr. Warden. Just want to speak a little bit to our overall numbers of homelessness in Huron County. So in March of this year, at least 103 people were experiencing homelessness in Huron County. That was up from our February 2024 numbers of 96. And of those 103 folks that were experiencing homelessness here in Huron, 91 of those people had been experiencing chronic homelessness, which means that they have been experiencing homelessness for 6 months or more in the last year. And it's really important that we point out that chronic number, because people's level of depth of need and kind of acuity continue to rise as the longer they experience homelessness, as things become more and more challenging for folks to become rehoused. I also wanted to point out as well that in March, there were 6 more people experiencing chronic homelessness than in February of this year as well. So we are seeing that chronic number increase every month. I think those are the main points. One more, those are maybe not less fun numbers to share, but certainly something positive to share is that in March, there were 3 people moved from homelessness into housing in March of this year. And 100% of those people, so all 3 of them, had been experiencing chronic homelessness. So that certainly is a win for our community. And I know in April and May, those numbers are even higher. So we'll be happy to share that when that data becomes available. And we're happy to answer any questions if there is any.
Thank you very much for that, Aaron and Madison. And that is exactly what we want, is moving individuals through the continuum of housing. Any questions or comments of Aaron? Councillor Noel first, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I first want to say thank you so much for all the good work you're doing. And I found that report extremely helpful as an overview of what's happening. It actually flagged to me some of the numbers that I hadn't necessarily paid attention to before. And when you were talking about population-specific data, it indicates that 24 people with Indigenous identity are experiencing homelessness. And not too long ago, we had a report about the demographics in Huron County that suggests that only 2% of our population is actually Indigenous. So that means that we have 23% of our homeless population who are Indigenous versus 2% of our entire population that are Indigenous. And I just wondered if you could comment on that at all, if there are any initiatives maybe that we are working on or could work on. I just thought that was an interesting and unfortunate figure for me to see in the report. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Warden, I agree. That is a very disheartening number. It's actually fairly in line with some of the Canadian statistics we see around the disproportionality of individuals who are Indigenous and experiencing homelessness. We have very few initiatives underway in Huron. Not to say that they're absent, they're on our radar. We are looking, we are exploring, but because we lack some specific Indigenous resources, that's challenging. We are engaged or involved in the community practice, the Indigenous community practice, to continue our understanding and our learning. We work with several other partners also committed to understanding the the inflow of homelessness from that particular population. And then we've also, and I won't be able to speak as well to this as my housing partners would be, but we do have some projects where some Indigenous housing has been earmarked specific to that population. But you're right, it is still not quite there yet, but we are committed to continue to try to understand better and understand that journey and what factors play into that. And that's what some of this data does help us understand. So some of the data you don't see presented here is we see this aggregate stuff that's presented in this report, but then behind the scenes when Madison and her team are working on case conferencing, we can understand really specific information about each individual and what's going on for them. And that's where some of that would surface a little bit. But yep, it's a great point to point out. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment and your response. Is there any additional questions or comments? Councillor Klopp, please.
Thank you. With regards to this data collection, was this data not available before?
Through you, Mr. Warden. Yes, this data has been available before. We've given it to you in sort of snippets. What we've committed to doing through our Built for Zero work has been to make this more publicly available. So while we have offered it in council, we've offered it through our annual reports. Now we're going to do this on a monthly basis so that we're really keeping a closer eye on it and making sure it's showing up at several committee meetings. So it will appear at the Affordable Housing and Homelessness governance table, also at the task force, that committee, as well as the case conferencing table. So while we've been pulling that data and highlighting it, this will be in a more formal context. So yeah, it's not necessarily new, but maybe a little broader.
Thank you. You mentioned making sure our partners are aware of this information. Who are our partners that we're working with, and why do they not have this information?
Well, the county is the holder of the binding list data. Specifically. So we are the ones who collect that data, hold that data, and manage that data. Our partners would be CMHA, the hospitals, Justice, so OPP. Who else would we have in there? Any municipal partners that would like that information, we can give them that. So we've got it coming out into a variety of ways, but anybody sitting at those committees would be the ones who would receive this information. And it's helpful for them when they're advocating for either funds for their work or ongoing.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's interesting. You said we are the holders of this information. So where are we getting this information from?
Through you, Mr. Warden, we receive this information through the individuals themselves. So these are all consenting individuals who agree to be on the by name list. And that by name list comes in through our office. So we have multiple entry points by which people can sign up to be on the list. And through that list is how we begin to try to match them to resources as well. But if I don't have their names or their information, we don't have information on how to match them to things. And also this was a requirement of the province a couple of years ago that we start to hold a by name list.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Councillor Bazinet, please.
Through you, Mr. Warden, I want to thank you, Aaron, and your team for all the work that you do. I find the Homelessness and Affordable Committee very valuable for the information that you provide to us. And what I try to do is, at the Town of Goderich Council meetings, I provide an update to my council in regards to the information that's being shared. And I would recommend that everyone at this table do the same with their council. I do like the fact that you're sharing the positives as well. It's so key because so often we hear all the negatives in regards to homelessness, but 3 people being housed is a positive, right? And we're going to hear that there's going to be more than 3 probably in the next, once you receive that information. So I can't thank you enough for all the work that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. Thank you. Any additional questions or comments of Aaron or Madison? And if not, thank you very much for presenting to us today. And I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report titled Homelessness Data Report Monthly Share for information purposes. Councillors Bazinet and Past Warden Guillen. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much again. 8.3 is the Huron Youth Recreation, Arts and Sports Program. Cheryl Patience is joining us virtually this morning to respond to any questions the County Council may have on this report. Welcome, Cheryl, and do we have any questions or comments of Cheryl? If not, thank you very much for this report, Cheryl. I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report. entitled the YMCA of Southwestern Ontario with the appropriate documentation and bylaws. And that is Councillor Becker and Anderson. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thanks again, Cheryl, for joining us. 8.4 is the renovations to the Jacob Memorial Building for the creation of Child and Family Center space. It is presented by Cheryl Patience and Jeff Kerslick. And again, Cheryl is joining us virtually, Jeff in person. They're both available to answer any questions the council may have. Do we have any questions on this report? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report titled Renovations to the Jacob Memorial Building and accept the tender in the amount of $344,457.60 with the appropriate bylaws being drafted. Councillor Finch and P. Heffer, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. And thanks very much again, Cheryl and Jeff, for this. 8.5 is the Service System Manager Semi-Annual Update. Barbara Hall is here to respond to any questions that council may have on this report. Does anyone have any questions or comments of Barbara? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report for information purposes. Moved by Councillor Finch and Noel. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Under nothing on homes for the aged today, on emergency services, 10.1 is the updated Huron County Emergency Plan. Jeff Horseman is here to respond to any questions on the report prepared by Chad Krieger. Do we have any questions of Jeff on this report? And if not, again, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive the updated Huron County Emergency Plan and approve the consolidated plan with the appropriate bylaws. And that is Councillor Vanstone and Bazinet, all in favor of this motion. And that is carried. Thanks very much, Jeff and Chad, for your work on this. Under Public Works, the first thing I would like to do is we have 3 summer students that we would recognize today. The first is Asia Krager. Asia went to high school at F.E. Medill and is now going to the study at Public Foundations in the fall. And welcome, Asia, to our staff. And we hope that you enjoy your summer. On the Auburn Patrol, the summer student is Callie McCowan. And Callie is from Seaforth, went to high school in Clinton, and is now going to Trent and Peterborough for biomedical science. Welcome to Callie. We do hope you enjoy your summer. And in the Zurich Patrol is Carter Leach. Carter lives in Stratford, graduated from Stratford Secondary School, went to Laurier for 3 years in geography, and Fanshawe College GIS and urban planning, completed 1 year and with 1 year to finish, and is currently in his 4th year as a summer student in Huron County. And that speaks volumes. Congratulations. We hope you enjoy your summer with us again. And you're kindly referred to as the flagging foreman by your colleagues. So let's show our welcome to all of these summer students. And we do hope you enjoy your summer in Huron County with our staff. On 11.1 is the Boundary Line Highway Agreement for the maintenance of bridge number 14-11, the Tri-County Bridge on Lambton Middlesex Road number 5. Imran is here to respond to any questions the council may have on this agreement. And if there are no questions, I will entertain a motion to receive this report with the appropriate bylaws. And that is Councillor Elvin McClellan and P. Heffer. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. I thank you. 11.2 is a recommendation to award RFQ HC 24-310, the removal of asphalt pavement and hot paving mix. Imran is here to respond to any questions, and Wyatt is in person this morning. Do we have any questions on this report? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report and award the tender to Lavis Contracting the amount of $389,452 with the appropriate bylaws being prepared. Councillor Finch moves, Councillor Harding seconds. All in favor of the motion? And that again is carried. Thank you. Thank you very much, Imran. 11.3 is a good news story, and that is the adjustment to request for crash truck. Imran, would you care to bring council up to date on the advancements of this, please?
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you, as part of the 2024 capital fleet budget, Public Works had requested the purchase of a crash truck. The request was associated with changes to the Ontario Traffic Manual, Book 7, and the traffic setup required for county line painting operations. The anticipated cost of this was estimated at $175,000, and the intention was to purchase the crash truck with an attenuator. We are now requesting to revise this request to purchase a crash trailer attenuator, which will be used with the existing fleet. The revised cost for this will be around $46,915, which will result in savings of approximately $128,095.
Thank you very much for that. Good news. Councillor Klopp first, please.
I'll make the motion, please, for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Me, always interested in stuff getting smashed up. Through you to Imran. Looks like this company's out of California, is it?
Imran, the question was, is this company we're dealing with out of California? Are you aware?
I am not aware of that right now, actually. I do not know that off the top of my head.
And that's fair. Sorry for springing on you. I was just wondering about getting parts if ever there was a sort of a collision or something like that, and have the attachment actually rendered not usable until you get parts. I just wondered about that. Hopefully that never happens. I was just looking for if there was any dealers close by, something like that. So
I will look into that. My understanding would be when something is purchased through a manufacturer in the States, we usually have a supplier in Canada and they can provide spare parts. Crash truck attenuator, though, if it did get into a crash, it would pretty much be useless, and that would take away the safety features, I believe, as the way they work. So,
well, and just looking at the information supplied there, it looked like there was pieces, I think 3 pieces that could be separated out and replaced like that. So it looked like that aspect of it was good, because it wouldn't be probably a complete write-off, but that's all I was interested in. So
yeah, I think it would really depend on the type of collision or what became useless, but yeah, it is something we can look into and make sure if it's available. I do know that this material is used in Canada fairly regularly.
Yeah,
but I will check on the spare parts.
No, certainly in favor of your recommendation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Klopp, please.
Thank you. Yeah. You mentioned here that maybe you're going to be doing a tender process. And obviously, do we have to do that? And that's fine. But I'm just a little, maybe there's a lot of wording in here extra, but I want to be clear. Are we doing a tender process after this motion is passed?
Okay, thank you for the question.
We are not doing a tender process where our goal is to see if we can get a comparable product with another supplier, but we are also looking to get what we have available quickly so we can start operations. We are currently in the process of trying to find out if there's any other suppliers. We haven't been successful. So likely if this gets approved, we will go ahead with the purchase.
Through the chair, thank you. I'm okay with that. That's where I was kind of wondering if we kind of got it around this, but it's always good to do some due diligence. It isn't holding up the process. I can live with that. And I gather council hearing that probably agrees too.
Okay, thank you for that. Any additional question or comments? And we do have a motion that has been made to receive this report titled Adjustment to Request for Crash Truck and the Appropriate Procurement Process. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried, and thank you very much, Imran, for this. 11.4 is the recommendation to award RFP HC 24509, the detailed design for replacement of 3 culverts in the county of Huron. Imran is here to respond to any questions on the report that was prepared by Will Williams. Do we have any questions or comments on this report? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report and award the tender of $130,050 and with the appropriate bylaws. And that is moved by Councillor Finch and Becker. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much. And thank you, Councillor Noel, for declining and your involvement in this. 11.5 is the stop sign enhancement procedures. Imran, would you care to speak to council on this morning, please?
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you. At the March 20, 2024 council meeting, council had requested a staff report regarding existing procedures for stop sign enhancement within the county. This report has a summary of existing conditions and procedures. Huron County Public Works follows the Ontario Traffic Manual Book 5 for specifications regarding stop signs. There are currently 3 different sizes of stop signs being used in the county. The 24-inch signs are considered the standard size. The 30-inch signs are considered the oversized signs. And the 48-inch signs, or the 4-footers, like as we call them sometimes, are considered the extra oversized signs. And these are the terms used in the Ontario Traffic Manual. The county currently maintains approximately 922 stop signs, out of which 81 are located at county road to county road intersections. The remainder of the 841 stop signs are located at local roads to county road intersections. The county also maintains all stop ahead signs associated with these stop signs. Over the past few years, the county has upgraded all stop signs at county road to county road intersections to the extra oversized signs, which are the 4-footers. The county has also upgraded most of the local road to county road stop signs from the standard 24 inches to the oversized 30-inch signs. There are currently only 9 stop signs in our inventory that are the standard small 24-inch signs. And we do aim to upgrade all of these to the oversized signs within the year as well. In terms of enhancement features, the county utilizes various options such as the overhead flashing beacon and LED enhanced signs. We also did a trial with reflective strips on signposts, and we saw positive results with those. And as such, we added reflective strips to all the stop signs at county road to county road intersections as well. As noted in the report, we feel that this approach to the stop sign enhancement is reasonable at this time. We are within compliance of Ontario Traffic Manual Book 5. The county will continue exploring stop sign enhancement at locations that are identified as having concerns related to visibility and general public safety. Public Works is looking to set up a digital system where members of public can submit a request for traffic calming, including unsafe intersections. This will streamline the process of identifying intersections that may require enhancements to the stop signs as well. This is an approach that town of Goderich has recently started using, and we think it is a good way to go about it. If there are any questions, happy to answer.
Thank you very much for that, Imran. The first question will be from Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, and thank you very much to the warden. I've had a conversation with Imran about this, and I think he's doing a great job. So I'm really happy to hear that they're doing the strips. I think that's a very positive move forward. It's not done elsewhere, I understand, which is great leadership on our staff. So I'm very happy with what we've come back with, and I think everyone would be surprised how many stop signs we actually have in the county. So I think it's a good lesson for all of us. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you for your positive comments. Would you be so inclined to move this? Do we have a seconder? And that would be P. Heffer. That the Council of the County of Huron receive this report for information purposes. Any further questions or comments? If not, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. We'll now move to economic development under number 12. And Vicky is joining us virtually this morning. Welcome, Vicky. It is always good to see you. And for everyone's knowledge, thank you for joining us on your holidays. You did not need to do this. We do appreciate it. And on your behalf, it would be a privilege for me to welcome and to recognize Renee Steinman. And Renee is one of our economic development's summer students. Renee has lived in Huron County her whole life, currently in Blue Water. And Renee has completed her first year at Brock, working towards her degree in business administration. This summer, Renee will be engaging with tourists and Huron County citizens at the community events that she will be attending, and is very excited to plan and create content for the economic development social media pages. Renee enjoys playing guitar and enjoying adventures with her friends. Let's again show our appreciation to Renee for joining us this summer. Under 12.1 will be the Huron-Perth Immigration Survey. Mark Nalkus is here to present. Please, Mark.
Good morning, through you, Mr. Warden. As you know, 4,200 immigrants live in Huron County and another 7,310 live in Perth County. This survey intended to capture a snapshot of some of the experience of immigrants and newcomers to Canada who live in our communities. This survey intended to learn about immigrants and newcomers to Canada and their experiences of living, working, and studying in the Huron-Perth region. We wanted to better understand the challenges immigrants face locally. We wanted to identify the diverse strengths immigrants bring and contribute. We wanted to solicit suggestions on how we could improve settlement and integration in Huron-Perth for other immigrants, and we wanted to use data to inform, prioritize, and improve future service delivery. Thank you. The survey was created after we saw the work of the Waterloo Region Immigration Partnership. They have been doing surveys of immigrants since 2015, and we use that survey as a blueprint to do for ourselves. We partner with the University of Guelph and their Community Engaged Scholarship Institute to provide research expertise. And we worked with a working group of frontline service providers to design 43 questions that we wanted to understand from immigrants and newcomers to Canada. We went through an ethics review process through the Community Research and Ethics Office. That was to ensure that the research was ethically sound and would do no harm. And then we started our recruitment process, and a number of partners participated in that. In total, 195 people who are immigrants or newcomers to Canada filled out the survey. So of those who filled out the survey, 105 were from Huron and 90 were from Perth. 65% were considered considered newcomers, meaning they've been in the country for 5 years or less, and they were from 49 different countries. We had 49% of the respondents who were male, 48.5 who were female, 2% didn't disclose, and 0.5 stated they were non-binary. 81% of the people who filled out our survey spoke more than one language fluently. 71% completed college, university, or an advanced degree, and 90% felt they understood, read, wrote in English well, fairly well, or very well. Most of the people who filled out the survey were employed, either full-time, part-time, or self-employed. There were some students, unemployed, homemakers, and retired folks who filled out the survey. A couple of key things that we learned from the survey was 39% said, yes, my job is at the same level as my international experience and education. And 46% said, yes, some of my international experience and education was recognized in Canada. About 1/3 of the people who filled out the survey volunteered with an organization in their community, and 35% volunteered with either an immigrant or newcomer organization or a religious organization. That was the most popular places where they volunteered. Folks, 2 out of 3 had strong sentiments to the community they lived in. So 67% said that they saw their community as welcoming or very welcoming to immigrants. 60% said they would recommend Huron and Perth to other immigrants to move to. And 67% said they have a strong sense of belonging in their community. So we also asked people about their experiences with government-funded services, and hats off to the library for a very positive response from immigrants who thought that they had great services there, followed by police, children's education, recreation services, social services, English language learning, and others. We also asked people about the challenges they faced in the last year, and far away was the number one challenge was the cost of living or money problems, with nearly half of the people filling out that they had experienced that challenge in the last year. Other challenges included finding a family doctor, finding affordable housing, access to transportation, finding work that matches their professional qualifications, finding a place to live, finding food that is their cultural preference, making friends, finding other health care such as a dentist or an optometrist, or learning English. Some of the challenges we did foresee our working group, so we asked questions to get more information about them. So with household income, we asked, is your household income enough for the needs of your household? 10% told us, yes, more than enough. 39% said, yeah, it's enough. 41% said not enough, and 10% preferred not to answer. We also asked people if they thought their housing was affordable, and we used the benchmark of 30% of a household's income before taxes to define affordable. 51% said yes, 31% said no, it's not affordable, and 18% preferred not to answer. And then with isolation and loneliness, we asked folks, how often have you felt isolated or alone in the last 12 months in Huron or Perth? 30% said not at all, 32% said a little bit, 17% said somewhat, and 22% said quite a bit or great deal. I think this slide is very important because it highlights the importance of personal relationships and individual actions to make our community welcoming and befriending people who are new to the country. We also asked people what their suggestions was on how we could improve our community to be more welcoming and inclusive towards immigrants. And people told us that they wanted better programs for immigrants to find work or start a business. They wanted more availability of public transportation, more affordable housing, more actions to increase welcoming and acceptance of immigrants. They wanted more education of employers on hiring, retaining, and promoting immigrants. They were looking for a central place for employers to find immigrant workers and for workers to find employment. They wanted actions to improve social connections of immigrants. 11% said they were looking for availability of worship space for their religion. 10% said they wanted actions to reduce discrimination towards immigrants, and 10% said more opportunities to improve English language skills. And so we continue to work with various partners to share the results of this survey and talk about how we can use the data to strengthen service delivery. We welcome the opportunity to speak directly to your council if you'd like to learn more about how folks in your community experienced it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark, for that very, very fulsome, informative information on your report. And I'm going to go now to Past Warden Ginn, please.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess the numbers that jumped out at me, if you can maybe go back a couple slides, community contribution / employment, and, you know, recognizing international experience and education. And it's, to me, very, very disappointing that those are below 50%. You know, we see people, I think we've all heard of it, of medical people, you know, they don't recognize that we have a shortage of doctors, we have a shortage of nurses. These people are trained, and yet we won't recognize it. And, you know, I know I've jumped in taxis before and talked to people, and they're engineers or they're something else in their home country, and the only job they can get here is driving a taxi. And we just got to do better than that. And I don't know what the solution is, but I'd be happy if Mark could give us the answer to that. But we just need to really recognize, and I don't know why that is. And I've even heard a story of a nurse coming from British Columbia, trained in Ontario, moved to British Columbia, worked there for 8 years, came back to Ontario, and had to go through a recertification process. And it's ridiculous in my eyes. And anyways, that's my rant. Mark, have you got any comments? I'd appreciate it.
Through you, Warden. It's complicated because a lot of those systems are controlled by professional bodies, so engineers, medical professions, and they dictate as to how you qualify to be a practitioner in Ontario. So there is movement from both the provincial and federal level of government to work with those professional bodies, but certainly there is more work to do to bring people more quickly to work in Canada and to pass the qualifications to work here.
Thank you for the comment and your response, Mark. Councillor Bazinet and then Klopp, please.
Yes, through you, Mr. Warden. Mark, thank you for this report. A lot of good data here, as always. I want to thank you and your team for all your work collecting this data and having those conversations. The survey was, important to get out. We shared it at the town of Goderich as well. I'm curious as to touch on Councillor or Past Warden Ginn's point. Would it be to an advantage to have something like a job fair where we could invite newcomers to a job fair and introduce them our social network to the employers of Huron County, or has that already been discussed? And because I see your eyes lighting up as soon as I say that, so I guess you'll answer my question appropriately.
Thanks for the question. Mark, please.
Yeah, through you, Warden. Hats off to Mayor Finch and the team at South Huron who are coordinating job fair in June, on June the 13th. And it will be for all people, but we will be focused on inviting newcomers and immigrants to that job fair. And certainly if other areas were interested in doing job fairs, we'd be happy to have conversations and support that.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Klopp and then Finch, please.
Thank you. Yes, it's an easy report to read. So the this program that you're under did this work with, is it federal, provincially funded?
Through you, Mr. Warden. Yes, we're funded by Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, and who pay for nearly 100% of the staff positions and program activities.
So if I may, when we talk about solutions, I guess this information should be pretty clear to hand to the professional groups that you talk about, doctors, nurses associations, professional engineers. I live a perfect example. My house addition 26 years ago now, because of my better half's connections, we hired a chap to do the drawings, and he informed me that he's not technically in Canada can do this. Heather wasn't worried, and if you notice, I can, as long as it's close, let's do it. He was moved to Goderich. That's 26 years ago. He now is a professional. He did the paperwork. So this has been going on a long time, and it is frustrating. But hopefully this information is pretty clear to the federal and provincial governments, but to these organizations, and I can appreciate that they have there's a reason for these things, but please get them on. I think there's some good news stuff in here about these numbers. We all want to see them 100%, but if maybe I'll look at it this way, and I hope it's taken the right way. It's always fraught with danger, but if you ask any person who's been here longer than 5 years, you would probably have a lot of the same percentages, which in one way is saying, I think we're getting everybody inclusive, although there's improvements that can be made. Just on that one other question you can get back to me on or not, but you used Waterloo Region. Maybe my heart's warm for that area that I always think they're, maybe it's university town or whatever. But can you, did you have an opportunity to compare their percentages with our survey? And I don't expect you to have that answer. And part of me says that you had to massage it to here in Perth, but it would be interesting to see how we're comparing with a Waterloo Region, if you could some point pass that on to us.
Okay, thanks for your comment. Mark, please.
Yes, through you, Mr. Warden. Thanks for that question. There were actually a number of communities that did a very similar survey. So Waterloo Region, Guelph, Wellington, Hamilton, St. Thomas, Elgin, Huron, and Grey and Bruce. So it would be very interesting to compare those results. This is the first pass of the results, but certainly I'm happy to look at how other areas did their survey and compare some things and bring it back to this council.
Thank you very much for that, Mark. Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through the warden, with regards to the job fair, I would encourage everyone at this table if they could reach out to Mark or through our staff and express the invitation to the their BIAs and their chambers to come to South Huron and be a part of that. I'm hoping that this will spark interest across the county. So all municipalities, all 5 settlement areas will have this proceed again, right? And because it's important for all of us to work together as collaboratively. So I would encourage you to reach out to your BIAs and chambers and let them know.
Thank you very much for that. Councillor Noel, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I just have a quick comment. I have the pleasure of being the county representative to the local immigration partnership. And I want to thank Mark and Emma and all of the incredible people who participate in that partnership. It is really, really good work that's being done. And it's very important for our community and especially important for the people who we want to welcome here. So I just wanted to express my thanks to you, Mark.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Noel. Well deserved. Councillor Harding, please.
I would be amiss if I didn't offer my congratulations to Mark on this report. I know it's not the percentages we want to see, but it's a starting point, and I think we can build on that. I also want to congratulate Beth Rumble and the library for their support, and she was mentioned in this, and they have taken a lead on this, and I congratulate them on that.
Thank you for that, Councillor Harding. Collaboration. That's what we're all about. Additional questions or comments for Mark? Councillor Becker, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Thank you, Mark, for your report. And south end of county, we've had immigrant workers for a number of years working on the farms and the greenhouses down there, and they're fantastic people added to our community, and they're from all nationalities. And keep up the good work getting them. One note I see in here is the immigrant workers finding employment, like Canada Manpower. Just the communication thing, I think that we got to get the employers and the people connected, and it all comes with communication. But thanks again.
Through you, Mr. Warden. It's quite interesting because there's so many different categories of immigration, right? So when we have these temporary workers who are on closed work permits, it means that they can only work for the employer who brings them because they also guarantee their housing and provide for their time in Canada, whereas other people who are on open work permits can work anywhere. We had both people, and that's why I use the term newcomers, because newcomers is more inclusive to say people who are here 5 years or less, and it doesn't matter what the way they came into Canada. And then immigrants is, you are an immigrant process and you come and you get your paperwork and you can work anywhere. So I believe there's now 90 different ways you can come into Canada through the Ministry of Immigration, Citizenship, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. But we did have, we asked people, we had 24 people fill out the survey who were temporary workers. And some of the folks were people from South Huron who were from Jamaica or Honduras.
Thank you very much for that. Any additional questions or comments? I'm sure you can see by a number of questions and comments, Mark, how much this report's appreciated. And thank you very much for that. Very capable. Would I have a mover and a seconder to receive this report for information purposes? Councillors Harding and Noel, all in favor of this motion? And that is carried. And again, thank you very much. I would like to welcome Vicki Loss back to address us on 12.2, which is a regional coalition partner, Southwestern Ontario Isotope Coalition, to respond to any questions. However, prior to Vicki doing this, I would like to make County Council aware, and we will all join together as Vicki gleams, and I love this. Vicki had a grandbaby yesterday, a grandbaby by the name of May Isabel Judith Robertson, 6 pounds 3 ounces. Let's show Vicki our congratulations. How true. We're very blessed. Do council have any questions or comments of Vicki on this report? And if not, thank you for joining us, Vicki, and congratulations again on your granddaughter. That's simply amazing. And I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report for information purposes. that Huron County Council join the Southwestern Ontario Isotope Coalition as a regional collaborative partner and appoint the warden and CAO or designates. And that is moved by Councillor Bazinet, seconded by past Warden Guillen. All in favor of this motion? And that is carried. Thank you. 12.3 is the 2024 SLED Program Fund 16 projects. Rick Sickinger, welcome, Mr. Sickinger, to present to County Council on the SLED program this morning.
Good morning. I'll quickly give an oversight of the SLED program. The report's in front of everybody, so I don't think I need to go into too much detail. The SLED program, or Supporting Local Economic Development Program, funds projects that address the strategic priorities from Huron County's Thrive Economic Development Plan. The program is open annually to municipalities and registered not-for-profits. It focuses on projects in Huron County that achieve one of the following objectives: re-engagement, education, skills development, attraction or retention of workforce, impacts business districts, key industry sectors, and/or investment attraction readiness, advances community development, tourism sector development, or the promotion of local food, and projects focused on youth and/or newcomers building a stronger sense of community. We had 22 applications with a total ask of about $190,000 in 2024. We did disperse the full $100,000 of SLED funding. $90,000 of that comes from the Huron County's Economic Development Board, with another $10,000 contributed by Community Futures Huron. Other than that, 16 projects were funded, and the list is there, and I'd be happy to answer any questions council may have.
Thank you very much for that, Rick. Tremendous program. Do any members of council have any questions or comments of Rick on the SLED program? Great work, Rick. Thank you to yourself and your team, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report for information purposes. Councillors Finch and Vanstone, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you very much. 12.4, the Economic Development Board Housing Working Group, How We Grow Matters. And it is a privilege to welcome Chris Watson to present his video show to us this morning. Welcome, Mr. Watson.
Thanks so much, Warden and Council. Thanks so much for having me back, both specifically and in general. But yeah, it's my pleasure this morning to present to you on behalf of the team quite a bit of work that was done prior to my arrival here. Just to give you a bit of background, I apologize, I'm going to try not to go into too much detail. Most of it is in your report, but in 2023, the Huron County Economic Development Board decided to focus its effort on raising awareness to the housing supply shortages here in the county. And as part of that, they decided to use some of their funds to create a series of videos. And the objective of these videos was essentially to communicate some of the future challenges that the county's facing with respect to the supply of housing, as well as some of the examples of what builders are doing to address these challenges in innovative ways, but while maintaining the unique character of our communities. And as well, how these innovative housing options are enriching the lives of both new and current residents of the county. So with that in mind, the board contracted Faux Pop Media and under the direction and partnership with Denise Van Amersfoort, the manager of planning, a great collaboration between the planning department and economic development. They were able to put together the videos that we're going to present today. Just before we get a little further here, I just want to take a moment to thank the builders that are featured in the videos. Hugh Bergsma from Goderich, Peter Bacos in Seaforth, Brock Hodgins out in Wingham, as well as Phil and Teresa Van Ray, who are going to be featured in the video we're going to show today. But in addition to that, I also wanted to extend a huge thank you to three county councillors who also took their time to be featured in the videos. Councillors Jay Haffer, Councillor Guillen, and Warden McNeil. Thank you all three for all of your time to help put these together. We did do a quick sneak preview at our recent Thrive Summit, the brick by brick presentation that Councillor P. Heffer was talking about earlier. So with that in mind, I will show you the 2-minute video featuring folks in Dashwood. So this is featuring Phil and Teresa Van Ray. I'm going to see how well I do here.
We live in Dashwood, Ontario, Huron, in the beautiful Huron County near Lake Huron. We need to make sure that we keep our farm families healthy. And to do that, we have to supply adequate housing. Like when I was growing up, I was in a 3-generation home.
Many of our farms now are multi-generational. With the advancements in technology, we have farmers farming into their 80s. So we want to have the opportunity for those types of families where there's multi-generations, the ability to build another house on the farm.
Before I found out about houses, I never liked the idea of a house because I always wanted to put more of my lifestyle and family all in one building. And then when a house, a barndominium came into mind, I'm like, that's 100% for me. So how our building breaks down is our living space is 35 by 60 feet, 2 floors. It also has a 1,000 square foot porch and then a 500 square foot gym for ourselves and our employees. And then our shed space is around 100 by 60 feet. It's the perfect stepping block because your parents get to live in their same house that they want to. You build a new place that helps exemplify the next generation of farming. I would like to bring back the idea of bringing multi-generational homes back to the farmland. And so just like us, we have me, my sister, my brother, and both my parents all live within 1.5 kilometers of each other. And we love it. It's awesome.
So that, like I said, is one of 5 videos that have been prepared. You just saw the one featuring Dashwood. In addition to that, there's 3 other short videos featuring builders in Goderich, Seaforth, and Wingham, as well as a 5-minute video that's more of an overview of all of the builders' work. Following the presentation, the videos will be posted on the county's website. You'll see a link in the report, as well as shared on social media channels. And the intention as well is to use these videos to present at conferences and elsewhere, sort of showcasing some of the great work that builders are doing here in the county. That I'll stop.
Thank you very much, Chris. I'm going to go first to Councillor Klopp for a question or a comment, please.
Thank you. Obviously know the people, wonderful story. It says in here what it cost and it says it's in the budget. What are we spending on this? If you maybe don't have to have it today, but I'd like to know. And as a comment, and I heard my colleague say, farmers are working in their 80s. I lobbied awful hard, spent a lot of my time and a lot of good farmers over the years, Federation of Agriculture. Farmers are working in their 80s because they have no choice. It's not about because of technology. And as far as working and farmers working together, every one of these is great. We're doing the same thing. But just keep that in mind. And as far as housing, every one of these, where this house was, there was a house there. It was tore down, and a wonderful idea. I guess we have to remind people about Shouse. Actually, two roads west. It's one of the first Shouse that I saw, and that's back in the early 70s. Out west, for those who have friends out west, they've been doing this for years. And it's all good, but just keep in mind, again, what are we spending? What is the goal? And can we do it cheaper? We have farm organizations that lobby very hard for decent prices so that we can not have to work in our 80s. We can retire not because of technology. I just want to get that point across. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Vicky, did you have any question or comment, please, at this time?
Thank you, Warden. Through you to Councillor Klopp. Just to be clear, you want to know how much the videos cost? Is that your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So you may remember that in the 2023 budget, we took Economic Development Board's budget from $60,000 to $30,000 for projects that they would be supporting. When they formed the Housing Working Group, we did an environmental scan to make sure that we were not duplicating efforts, but enhancing. And one of the things that we saw and found through that scan was that we weren't communicating all the great opportunities and things that were being done in Huron County. So the housing conversation and density was still not being appropriately represented and representing the great work that our planning department had done. So the working group went to the Economic Development Board and asked for approximately $20,000 to do videos and a communications effort to make sure that we were able to showcase and inspire people to look at density and density done well and opportunities in agriculture as well.
Thank you very much for that. Great videos, great work, Chris. Any additional questions or comments? Councillor Bazinet, please.
Through you, Mr. Warden, I love the idea of the videos compared to a big, long, descriptive message, right? 2 to 5 minute video, you get that point across. We're looking at our accessibility advisory committee, hopefully doing some of the same type of videos. I think that gets people's attention a lot more is with the videos. You definitely caught my attention with that video. So thank you for ECDEV for all the work that you do.
Thank you very much for that. Any additional questions or comments? And if not, well done, Chris and Vicky and your entire department. And I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report entitled How We Grow Matters for Information Purposes, please. P. Heffer and Councillor Anderson. All in favor of the motion. And that is carried. Thank you and thanks again. 13 under administration policies and other issues. 13.1 is the Huron-Perth Public Health Cost Sharing Agreement. Michael Blumhagen, our Treasurer and Director of Corporate Services, is here to respond to any questions that any members of council may have on this. Do we have any questions or comments for Mike? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report for information purposes, to enter into the agreement effective January 1, 2025 for 4 years with the appropriate bylaws being drafted and required documentation. Councillor Vanstone and Finch, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. And Mike is also here to respond to any questions on 13.2, the 2024 Bell Mobility Inc. cell phone contract renewal. Do any members of council have any questions or comments on this? And if not, I will entertain a mover and a seconder to receive this report entitled Bell Mobility Inc. cell phone contract and enter into the agreement for 36 months effective the 12th of June of 2024 with the appropriate bylaws being drafted. Jay Heffer moves. And Councillor Finch seconds. All in favor of this motion. And that is carried. Thanks again, Mike. We have a number of issues of correspondence that have been submitted. Do we have anything that anyone would like to pull on these? And if there, Councillor Bazinet, please.
I don't want to pull one, but I would like to say thank you to Clerk Cronin for the way it's organized now with the previously supported correspondence. I would feel awful if I didn't thank her, since I was the one that brought it forward, and it did create a little extra work for Clerk Cronin and whoever else was helping behind. Louisa. Okay, thank you.
Clerk Cronin just asked Lubica to do it, so she's taking 0 credit.
Oh, thank you very much for that, and we do appreciate that. Is there anything that anyone would like to address? And if not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to accept the correspondence not specifically dealt with for information. And that is P. Heffer, past Warden Gann. All in favor of this motion. And that is carried. Thank you very much and for your comments. If there's any unfinished or new business, please contact the CAO so it can be placed on a future agenda. Does anyone have a notice of motion that they would like to bring forward today for a future meeting? And seeing none, we have two bylaws that I would entertain a mover and a seconder that we are provided first, second, and third and final reading on the bylaws that are printed. Councillor McClellan and Finch, all in favor of this motion. And that again is carried. I thank you. We do have a closed to the public session today, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder. The Huron County Council go into a close to the public session at 10:10 a.m. under Section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss an item that relates to a personal matter regarding an identifiable individual, including a municipal or local board, employee, 2023-24 homelessness emergency motel program, and further that CAO work. Clerk Cronin, Director of Corporate Services Michael Blumhagen, Director of Property Services Barbara Hall, Manager of Housing Services Christine Hoffman, and Aaron Schooley, the Homelessness Program Supervisor, remain in attendance. Do I have a mover and a seconder for that? And that is Jay Heffer moves and Councillor Finch seconds. All in favor of the motion. And that is carried. I thank you very much. Thanks to all members of the public and media that are joining this morning. And we will break for 5 minutes while our clerk secures the meeting. Thank you.
At this time, we will be moving into close to the public session. For those that are participating remotely, if you'd like to stay for the end of the meeting, I'm going to be sending you a request to join as a panelist. If you accept that request, then then you can stay for the meeting. If you don't accept the request, I'm going to ask that you just disconnect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We are now in open session again, and I'm going to call on our CAO for reporting out of our closed session, please.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Warden. The purpose of going into closed session today was to receive information about personal matters about an identifiable individual in regards to the 2023-2024 homelessness emergency motel program.
Thank you very much for that. I would draw everyone's attention to our upcoming meetings. Council Day 1 will be the 12th of June, a hybrid meeting, of course, in these council chambers. The Library Board on the 19th, a hybrid meeting at 57 Napier. The Accessibility Committee on the 24th of June, and it is a completely virtual meeting. Council Day 2 will be the 26th of June. In these council chambers, it will be hybrid. And Council Day 1, 3rd of July, with the Economic Development Board meeting on the following day on the 4th. Again, both hybrid meetings. With that, I would entertain a mover and a seconder for our confirmatory bylaws to confirm the proceedings be given first, second, and third readings in accordance with the bylaws of the County of Huron. Councillor Finch and P. Heffer, all in favor of this motion. That is carried, and I don't know how we're going to get out of here without Councillor Dietrich's attendance. However, I will entertain a mover and a seconder to adjourn our meeting, and that would be Jay Heffer and Councillor Becker at 10:31 a.m. All in favor of the motion. That is carried. Thank you very much to all, and please enjoy the rest of our beautiful day. Thank you.